Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Bruce Zwicker, the president and CEO with Haines. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm fine, Kemp. How are you?
I'm well. Good to be with you. We were together last week. You hosted a beautiful breakfast at the Four Seasons in Vegas to honor one of your suppliers, and it's the first time you've given the Supplier Reliability Award. You gave it to Mirage, Boa Franc. We'll get to that in just a minute. Just a little background, though. First, most people know Haines, the largest floor covering distributor in the U.S. You focus in the mid-Atlantic and come all the way down into the southeast. And you personally came into this business. Some would say you're an outsider. You've been in the business about 10 years. You were a major leader in the chemical industry for publicly held companies, and you left there. Now you work for Haines, which is a privately held organization. And you've taken Haines through this recession, and things are looking pretty good for you guys, right?
Yeah, we're quite pleased with where we are. We could always use more business.
Yeah.
The market's not quite what we like it to be for a while here, but, we'll take 3 to 4% growth in the market. We can certainly live on that and do well. And the acquisition of CMH, we're through the integration phase, which was tough, but we're beyond it now and starting to roll along, and we're very, very pleased with that.
Let's get to this award you gave. One of the reasons I wanted to do this interview is because I agree with you about Mirage and the fact that they are a company that deserves a lot of accolades and attention. Most people who have met Pierre Tabet know that he's a hands-on leader, and his family owns the company. He bought the company in the late 70s. Right after he bought it, it burned to the ground, so he got a chance to build it back up. They focused on pre-finished, and you awarded him this first of your, that sounds to me like you're going to do this award every year, but you gave this to him because, and you talked about this in your speech, floor covering is a very complex business, and he brought certainty to you. And you went on to talk about how you have far fewer claims with Mirage's hardwood products than you do with many of the other products that you carry. Why don't you give us a little bit more about what you were talking about in certainty in the age of complexity?
Sure. So this is the Haines Supplier Reliability Program, which we started in 2015, and you're correct. We will be giving out an award every year to the most reliable supplier, and Mirage clearly deserves it. They are the best supplier in floor covering as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's the case for many people in their opinion. This specifically about delivery of product on time as well as fulfilling your promises as a manufacturer when something is back ordered. So those are the two primary categories. Later on, we'll expand the program to quality. Mirage would win it for that as well. But this is a very complex industry. It is more complex today than it was certainly when I was joining the industry about 12 years ago. The number of SKUs has skyrocketed. The types of products and the technology of the products has really multiplied. Consumers are looking for all kinds of variety that we weren't dealing with 12 years ago. Consumers have to deal with the complexity of the floor covering product array. It is not an easy thing to buy floor covering, as we all know in the industry, for the average person walking into a retailer store. And production cycles are now more complicated because of all the SKUs. It takes longer in your production cycle to get back to every one of the SKUs. And so there's an imperfect match between the demand for the product and the production of it. And everyone's keeping their inventory, at reasonable levels, but certainly not excess, managing working capital well. So oftentimes manufacturers don't have the products they need at the right time. We as a distributor sit between the manufacturer and the customer. We as a distributor, the customer looks to us. It's up to us to get that product there on time, but we're relying on manufacturers. And the industry, I think, has drifted into a state of unreliability. And it's very costly to have more production capacity, more inventory, so that's not the answer. The answer is know-how. The answer is being very tough on how you run your production, the statistics that you use, how do you work with your distributors relative to demand forecasting, although it'll be imperfect. Mirage does those things well. They are very disciplined, and when they say something, as you said it, we have certainty, and therefore our customers do. So the idea of giving the award to Mirage Number one is to reward them because they are a great supplier to Haines, and we want to keep growing with them because they are. And we will therefore promote them to our customers as being the most reliable. And I think that's something that every supplier would want to aspire to, because we can produce more sales for someone who is the most reliable. But secondarily, I guess it's to put a little pebble in the water in the industry, maybe a little message. And I'm not big-headed about this, and I don't think we've got that kind of sway in the industry. But I think it is important that we all as an industry recognize that we've got this problem and address it as best we can. And Haines, in its own small way, will be addressing it for ourselves and for our customers with our suppliers.
One of the things I like about Mirage is that they have a single product focus. In this day now where everybody in this consolidated marketplace, we see people getting into all the different flooring categories. And you look at, just think about hardwood for a minute. You know, it used to be it was either finished or unfinished, and it was all solid. Nowadays, you know, it's not only is it engineered or solid, pre-finished, unfinished, but you start thinking at the different levels or the different cores that they can adhere their engineer to, the different thicknesses of wear layer or veneer. And I mean, even Mirage admits they introduced 300 new products in the last 5 years, and they seem to be managing the process pretty well, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah, and that's a good point. They are in the engineered wood flooring business, but they can't stand still. They have to keep coming up with new products because the world is shifting for them as well.
Right.
But they are very focused, and they make good decisions on what they're going to focus on, and then they execute well. And that's the thing that makes them stand out.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned something that another thing I want to pivot on real quick before we run out of time. You're talking about, and I think it's great because you're in the middle of the business here, as you say, as being a distributor, but we need to make floor covering easier to buy for the consumer. What a great statement that is, because the consumer walks into a flooring retail store and you see all these different racks from all these different brands, and it's ultra confusing. And then the retail sales associate, how they guide them through the process can be very confusing. One of the things you said in your little speech is that you send your wife out on an annual basis to buy floor covering.
Yes, I do.
I think that's great. That's market research right there.
Yeah, we as an industry, I think, we need to recognize we're competing against other remodel, we're talking residential here at the moment, residential remodel projects, and people, this is a high-ticket item, it's a discretionary item, people don't have to spend on floor covering, they can spend it on cabinets or something else, so we are fighting for that dollar. And the more complicated we make it, the less reliable we are, the more we're shooting ourselves in the foot as an industry. So one aspect certainly is reliability. The other one is clarity of the product, the literature, the merchandising, the training of the retail showroom person. Mm-hmm. All those things have to be aligned. And there again, Mirage does a great job on the quality and the merchandising and the training and the story. So kudos to them in all regards. But that's the kind of thing every supplier should be aspiring to, because then we make the whole industry better and then we sell more floor covering.
Yeah, well, we could talk on and on about reducing complexity, but I did want to recognize this award because it comes from a great company and it rewards the right behavior to Mirage. So again, been talking to Bruce Zwicker, the president and CEO of Haines, about his first Supplier Reliability Award given to Mirage, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.